What are you doing? Yes, everyone, welcome back to the channel. We're going to be talking about Marcus Rashford's interview with Players Tribune, which I think is a great outlet, and they seem to get really, really good stories in there as well. I've got someone spying at the window here. Get that out of the way. Look at this flute. Oh, has my camera gone off? Oh no, what's happened? There we go. We're back. What are you doing? So we've had Marcus Rashford do his interview with the Players Tribune. I'll go through some of the quotes that's in it, and I'll give you my opinion on what I think he said. I think I'd have been a lot happier reading this if Marcus was in form. I think this would have been a lot better received if Marcus was actually in goal-scoring form. And I think I question whether it was even needed or not. If he'd have gone on the run that Højlund has just gone on, there wouldn't have been anyone questioning anything about him. People have just been going, yeah, he's scoring goals again. What are you doing?
You live?
Yeah, we're live, yeah.
Hi, where's coming? Hi. Go on. See, man. Rashford.
So I think if he'd have started scoring goals, I don't think there's any need to do the interview in the first place. I think the interview just felt like it wasn't needed in the slightest. And if he comes out and I don't think people are right if they're questioning Rashford's commitment to United. I think he was correct in his assertions of what he believes.
I was reading the comments. Keep going, man. You've got to concentrate on the work.
So, this is a fucking shambles, isn't it? Here it is. So,
yeah, big up, man. What's happening?
Listen, if Marcus is scoring goals, I don't think people are questioning his commitment. I think his body language makes more questions than anything else, because I don't think his body language is correct. And I think he can fix that. Now, the headline that we've gone with here, the media lies, that was what he was sort of putting out there. I'd have so much more cause to back him if he went, this outlet, The Sun, or this guy, or that guy, or what they said was wrong, and here's why. I think that works. I think it's a little bit, not a cop-out, but it's on that sort of same street, if you know what I mean, by just coming out and going, oh, the media lies. Well, they don't lie about everything. And obviously the incident that happened in Belfast, there was an incident there. Now, people maybe have gone 1 + 1 and it equals 15, and they might have added on extra bits themselves, but I don't think the whole incident, just pure and simple, didn't happen. There was obviously a problem there. He obviously had to be disciplined by Erik Ten Hag. And I think if he just focused on that, we'd be fine. So it's one of those. The fundamental bottom line for me is this wasn't required. I can understand why he's done it. And like he says himself, he can understand the game a little bit. So I'll read out some of the quotes. I don't normally like to respond to things about me. It's not in my nature. I'm an introvert. I don't even like talking about myself unless I really know you. So 99% of the time, I can ignore the noise, but sometimes certain lines get crossed and I can't help but want people to just understand who I am as a person. I'm not trying to have a go at the media. I understand the game, but do you know what I mean? They're not really writing about me. They're writing about this character, Marcus Rashford. It can't just be about me, a 26-year-old lad on a night out, or a lad getting a parking ticket. I think he's got a big point on that one. It's got to be about how much my car costs, guessing my weekly salary, my jewellery, my tattoos. It's got to be about my body language, questioning my morals, speculating about my family, my football future. And there's a tone to it that you don't get with all footballers. Let's just leave it at that. Now, I think he's kind of alluding to the racism that exists in some of the British media and the way that certain players get talked about. For me, there is a racial element to it. And I think it's fucking disgusting. It was very much highlighted with Raheem Sterling and his bathroom renovation. And anytime Marcus has bought something, they do always have to put the price in it. You know, when they're talking about him getting a parking ticket and this, that, and the other, some of that might be institutionalized racism. Some of that might just come with the territory being a Manchester United player and one of the biggest names at Manchester United. But there has been differences in reporting of certain incidents and certain things. Some of the stuff that went on with Phil Foden and his family would have been and did get reported differently to some of the stuff that went on with Marcus Rashford. So he's absolutely got a point on that sort of stuff. I just think like I said, I just feel like it wasn't needed. It wasn't needed. Now, if it helps lessen some of the noise, because there is a lot of noise, then it was a positive thing. But when you do something, I think you have to look at, okay, I do X, the outcomes could be Y or Z. What are the potential outcomes from this? No, if I was to say anything to Marcus, I would say, I understand and I get you generally ignore most of the noise. And I get the frustration. Sometimes people printed bollocks about myself. And the temptation is to fucking respond to it. It's probably not the best thing to do, though, sometimes. And sometimes it probably is. And obviously there's entirely different circumstances and an entirely different level of noise that must be hard to concentrate on your football with. You know, he can't go anywhere in the city without getting mithered. You know, I think the easiest thing to say, and perhaps not the easiest thing to do, is just to focus on a performance. The body language is real, though. I think the issue with the body language is definitely real. And I know he mentioned, like, he's not happy with people talking about his body language. But the body language is a big thing. You know, a lot of us subconsciously know what people's body language means. You know, you don't have to have someone explain to you. You know, it's a language. You know, we can see, you know, the frustration at times. Channel that into encouraging the others. Channel that into just running yourself into the ground, which I know he's done in the past. You know, he played through injury, probably ill-advised to play through injury at times. And last season, he did some madness for us. But you can't deny that he's out of form this season. And I would say just score goals. Score goals, create chances, play for the team, and the fans will love you. And when the media go for you, because the media do sometimes go for you, then the fans will fucking batter the media for you. They will. And I said this 4 years ago. Marcus Rashford embarrassed the Tory government and made them change their mind, I think, twice about what was going on with the school meals thing, because it was a cause that he believed in. And I said, they're going to come for him because they don't like some... One, they probably didn't like the fact he was black. Two, they wouldn't have liked the fact he was northern. And three, they wouldn't have liked the fact that he's fucking loaded independently because of his own skills, right? Tory government would have hated all those fucking three things about what Marcus Rashford is and represents. And him forcing the government to do a U-turn on what was going on with the school meals absolutely embarrassed them. And you can see the way certain sections of the press would have been lent on by the government to talk a certain way about Marcus Rashford, or as soon as he makes any fucking mistake, make sure that's blasted all over. I said this 4 years ago would happen, and I said I expect the fucking fans to be there for him. And for the large part, the fans were there for him. But the truth is with fans, people have short memories, and you have to perform on the football pitch or the fans aren't having you. No fan is going to accept anyone not performing. And the problem Marcus is in at the moment is he hasn't been performing. Now, do I think he's just started going out on the smash all this season? No. Do I think he was doing anything different this season to what he was doing last season when he was on a goal a game on that mad purple patch where he was winning us matches after matches? No. I don't think he was doing anything different. I think whatever worked for him last season, and I don't think he'll have changed. And I think he's smart enough to realise that whatever he did last season that did work, he hopes he can replicate again. But the team is different. We are playing different. You know, Bruno's not having actually, it'd be easier to say who's having a good season. I could say the three people having a good season right now is Mainu, Johnny Evans, and Diogo Dalot. So if 7 or 8 players are having a good season, the forward's job gets easier. You know, Højlund's the least passed to forward in the league. And when Marcus plays up front, he gets the same level of treatment. You can't do nothing without getting it past. Brownwall says, who gives a fuck about his charity work? That was a great attitude to have. The Life of Riley says, politics should be left out of football. The problem is, mate, politics are in football. Whether you like it or not, football is political. It is used by, like I would generally consider myself a Labour voter. I'm working class and I'm from the north. So I would absolutely consider myself a Labour voter. I don't know if I see myself aligning with what Labour represent at the moment, but I would probably come from what would be a traditional Labour area. Now, when you say keep politics out of football, Labour put politics in football. That Labour government of the late 90s knighted more fucking ex-footballers and football managers than anybody else. Every single politician tries to use whatever football team that they support to try and get votes. Football is political. You can't fucking say it's not. They're not separate. Moose Swing says, well, yeah, I could support a football team. I can vote to make change in policies. So, of course, his game performances matter. I couldn't give a fuck about anything else. That's fine. That's fine. If you want to watch football and do what you do, that's fine. But ultimately, everything is linked. You can't take things out in isolation. The Life of Riley says he brought it on himself. What did he do himself that has brought anything on himself? Please let me know. Adam says, he has done nothing compared to Rooney and Beckham. Okay, but who did? True for You says Rashford is not good enough no matter how much fans pretend he is, purely because he's from Manchester. Right. What the fuck is that? I see this all the time. Is that something people say? I don't see this. Like, he's not good enough. Was he good enough when he scored 30 goals? Was he good enough a couple of years before that when he scored 20 goals? Did the goals not matter when does he have to score them in Manchester? Did he have to score like, what the fuck? Your comment makes no fucking sense. Does it? JD and Coke says, is this United testing the water to see the reaction to do a similar thing with Greenwood? I could not tell you. Lemon says PR machine is going strong. Look, people have this thing about Marcus and his PR. I think if he was going to do stuff purely for PR, he would have done a lot more and a lot of other things. Like, I think a lot of the criticism that he got, I think a PR firm would probably advise you to not do some of it. And also, every fucking footballer has a PR company that they work with. Every footballer. United says, imagine using Højlund's stat as an excuse for Rashford's poor performance. Rashford is largely at fault for Højlund never getting the ball. Look, you might have a point with that, but why then is it when Rashford plays up front, the ball still doesn't get to the striker? And if you actually look about how much Marcus gets the ball when he plays on the left wing, you can't say it's entirely his fault. Is he a factor? Of course he's a factor, as are every single other member of the team, but you can't say it's purely down to Marcus. That's just wrong. James says, he's good enough when he chooses to be and wants a bumper new contract. He puts zero effort in, so we have every right to question his commitment. Rashford out. Jesus fucking Christ. Ed says, I really hope PSG aren't put off by the extra noise around Rash. We need that sale. Matt says, my issue isn't Rashford not supporting the club, because he clearly does. The fact he's not good enough. If we want to win titles, we need a better than Rashford on the left wing. I'll ask you this. If Marcus played during the time when United were winning leagues and Champions Leagues, is he worse than Nani? Because I don't think he is. I think he's about the same level as what Nani was. And, you might have your own view on where Nani stacked up in terms of a footballer, but I don't think he certainly isn't any worse than Nani. Now, you've got to think about who was supplying Nani with the ball and wonder, could Marcus do the same sort of things? And I would argue yes. And at times, was Nani frustrating? Yes. Did he score goals? Yep, he scored goals and he had a pretty good assist record too. But I think the level of where Marcus is isn't Rooney and Ronaldo, but I think it is Nani. I think he's on that level. PS says, lol, does Rashford move enough while in the 9 to even get the ball? His ability is what needs to be questioned. I agree with him on the tactical undertone, racial undertone in your country. Look at your history. On the movement thing, yeah. Alan Shearer pointed this out, and when you're at the game, you actually, my seat's particular because of where it is, it's so high up, you actually see him running all the time, and the ball doesn't come. If you think United are a team that supplies lots of ball to our forward line, you've just not been watching Manchester United this year. JD and Coke says, if you watch Rashford all season, he makes so many runs and isn't found. Our issues are finding our front three. I agree with that. Keith says, everyone loves a homegrown player, and Marcus has been excellent at times. However, 2 excellent seasons out of 7 isn't world-class, consistent, or even acceptable. I think if you have to look at the factors in some of that, he's been moved around in position a lot. I think some of that's his own fault. I think, he come out and said he wanted to be a 9, come out and said he wanted to be on the left wing. He might have been better served just staying as a winger and honing his craft on the wing. But there's been some significant injuries that he's played through, which he shouldn't have played through, which he has done. Richard says, can't compare him to Nani. I think they're on the level. I think you're probably rose tinting Nani a bit if you think that Nani was levels above, or it's madness to compare him. It really isn't. Dave Tyler says, Marcus is great. Love him for his on and off the pitch. We complain that players are robots. When one is genuine, he gets battered. Abhinav says, Ruben Amorim looks like an older Bruno Fernandes. Graham says, Rashford is an average player and he won't get any better. How many average players score 30 goals in a season? In a poor team? Do you know what I mean? Like, a bit of realism here is required. Ross says, I think Marcus thrives in a structure and consistent players around him, i.e. last season. Daniel says, Rashford playing striker should give him the first-hand experience of why he should be better at crosses. That's a good point. I could roll with that one. Joshua says, imagine having this discussion last season. Winning football matches literally dictates football agendas. It does. You're right. LDT says, I defended Rashford for years, but it's hard now. He scored some goals last season and played well, but his all-round game is shocking. Watch him on Sunday. I think forwards are limited by what's around them in a big, big way. DB Cooper says, Rashford is way better looking than Nani. Come on. I don't know what that's all about. Mikhail says, it's pathetic that Rashford is getting more hate than the guy on our team who beat the shit out of his girlfriend and threatened to kill her on tape. That's put a big fat allegedly against that one. But Gesha says he isn't good because his age, he won't change and he won't improve. Sell him. Do you know, that's also not true. Players do often get better with age. I think it's probably unlikely at Rashford's age. But Zlatan, I don't think had a 30-goal season until he was 30 and then only had 30-goal seasons afterwards, pretty much. Ed says, do your talking on the pitch. We say this all the time. Maguire finally figured out how to do this season. Why can't Rashi? Well, the thing is, it's not like he gives loads of interviews, is it? Right, hang on. James says, 30 goals in one season doesn't make him good enough to be considered the solution moving forward. Right, let me just, and for all the people talking about Nani being miles better, let's pull up what Nani's done in terms of goals. This isn't a readily available thingy. Here's what Nani did in terms of his seasons. This is all competitions. So at Manchester United, all competitions, so you're talking 41 appearances, 4 goals, 31 appearances, 6 goals, 34 appearances, 6 goals, 49 appearances, 10 goals, 40 appearances, 10 goals, 21 appearances, 3, 13 appearances, 1. scoring a grand total of 40 goals in 230 games. Whereas Marcus, who apparently isn't good enough, has scored in a similar number of games, actually. Well, it's actually a lot more games. 18 in 8, 11 in 53, 13 in 52, 13 in 47, 22 in 44, 21 in 57, 5 in 32, 30 in 56, and 5 in 32. 128 goals in 391 appearances. Yeah. Nani wasn't as good in a far better team. So don't tell me that Marcus isn't on the same level, at least, as Nani. Because he is. And I like Nani. I think Nani was a real good player for us. In hindsight, because he frustrated the shit out of me when we had him. But Marcus is comfortably on that level. And what I'm trying to say by that is, he isn't Rooney and he isn't Ronaldo. That's the genuine world-class talent that we've had in that position. Do I think Marcus is world-class? No, but I think he's an excellent footballer. He's not in form. No, but he has looked dangerous in recent games. The Luton game, I thought he had a pretty good game. The last minute, he doesn't press Ross Barkley, and that's the thing that goes viral. There's certain people just looking to spin negative and toxic fucking agendas. It's a madness. Rico says, bro, what's the assist? I don't have the assist. The assists aren't something that gets readily put there. Nani will definitely have more assists than him. Absolutely does. I'm not sure. I think Nani will have a significantly higher level of assists. Nani had more assists than Cristiano did in his first 100 games. So, yeah. Gesha says, one season wonder. I mean, this is a player that scored over 20 goals 3 times. It's not a one season wonder, is it? Dan Smith says, if social media was at the same level when Nani was here, the hate for him would have actually been unreal from the same people going over the top on Rashford. Yeah. 3 times he scored over 20 goals in how many seasons? Well, he got 8 in 18 in his first season. So if he'd have played a full season, he probably would have ended up with 20 goals. So his first season was only half a season. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 full seasons. And 3 times he scored over 20 goals. So, all right, he probably won't get 20 goals this season. But, 11, 13, 13, 22, 21, until that season where he scored 5 when he was clearly fucked. That was a pretty consistent run, wasn't it? So Abbas Tony saying he is a one-season wonder. Not really, our kid. Not really. Oh, Nani's got 43 assists, Rashford 39. Okay. It was closer than I thought it would be. Darren says, Nani was better. He played deeper in a 4-4-2. No, he didn't. What the fuck are you talking about? No, he didn't. United played 4-3-3 when we had Nani. Are you insane? United played 4-3-3 from 2007 onwards. Fucking 4-4-2. We haven't played 4-4-2 since fucking probably 2005 was the last time you might have seen us playing 4-4-2. It's just not the fucking case, is it? You might argue we played 4-2-3-1, but we didn't play. Probably from about 2004 or 5, we stopped playing 4-4-2. Stop. Matt says we need someone who can consistently provide for Højlund. Rashford isn't that player. Giggs and Beckham set the standard out wide. Again, they were playing in a 4-4-2. Anyways, I'm going to wrap it up. As always, thank you guys for tuning in. Make sure to subscribe if you are new. Preview will be out tomorrow. I think there's something else coming out later today. But there you go. Look, bottom line on this, Marcus has to step up. I think he is being well unfairly treated at the moment. I don't necessarily agree with the reasoning behind sticking the interview out. I agree with the do your talking on the pitch. I think if he fucking went on a 5 or 6 game scoring streak, a lot of this noise would calm down. It really would. People just want our footballers to be performing on the pitch. And you can get away with going on the piss every single week if you were doing that. Like, no one would care. But yeah, I think ultimately you support your players, especially ones that have proven what they can do for you. Speaking facts, says Steve, we all know Rashford sent you a brown envelope to come and back his crap ass, but you can't fool anyone. Really? Do you think they'd fucking want this conversation the way it's gone? No, I'm just trying to fucking be fair and level with it. Super chat here from 123 Underclass says, Rashford in form is the most exciting player. Form is temporary, class is permanent. We love you, Rashford. But yeah, ultimately, here's the bottom line. I don't necessarily agree with doing it. I can kind of understand wanting to quieten the noise down. Do your talking on the pitch. You know, put a handful of weeks together where you score a goal a game. There won't be any noise. There will just be people behind you. No, this is a man that has played through some mad injuries for us, and I think ill-advised to do so, but he has done. And I think he can do it again, but we want to see it on the pitch. So don't be telling us how much you committed to the club. Show us. And I think a lot of the shit that is in that is bang on. Like a lot of the time, the media just chat shit. People talking about his jewellery, his tattoos, his salary. It doesn't matter to me. I don't give a fuck. And if has he got a nice car? I should fucking think so. He's loaded, right? I expect you to have a nice car. One of the perks of his job. If he got 10, I couldn't give a fuck. But I think the body language thing, I think that is correct. I think you can question his body language, and I think it's fine to question his body language. Saya says, how can we not question his commitment to United if he doesn't look like he's trying or he cares? I think that's the one. The body language would change all of that. Fix the body language, score a couple of goals, everyone will shut up. Anyway, thank you guys for tuning in as always. I am really going this time. Well, make sure to subscribe, do us a favour, like the video, and let me know your thoughts. And hopefully Ash doesn't fucking ruin another video for us. See you in a bit. Hey, thank you for watching the video. If you are new around these parts, then don't forget to subscribe. My channel is proudly supported by my community on Patreon. If you'd like to get a little bit of extra content, a Discord group, meetups, five-a-side games, weekly podcasts, behind the scenes, and even an occasional bit of transfer news as and when I get it, then for the price of a pint, you can show your appreciation for the content that we make and get some goodies for doing so as well. Check the link in the description or click the button right here. You'll also find all of my socials here too if you want to follow me on any of those platforms.